Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Adele Taylor with the Garden State Film Festival. And today I am joined with director and producer David Serero. And he is going to be talking to us about his film, The United States of fashion designer Elie Tahari. So glad to be here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, and I'm so happy and I'm even more doing amazing by seeing you, my dear. So I'm so honored to be with you and with this wonderful film festival, the Garden State Film Festival, who is doing a phenomenal job. Like you guys are really rock stars,
Ah,
and I really love that festival. And it's funny because I was invited once to a party organized by Garden State Film Festival, and I was like, gosh, it's such a good film festival. And now I'm, selected with my first film, so I'm extremely honored. So I'm sorry for the lighting. I'm in my hotel in Miami because I had a movie, so you see tons of lights everywhere, so I'm going to try to hide it,
all
like
good. Lots of
like,
lighting,
oh,
lots of
hello,
action just
hello.
moving around. All
How
good.
are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to be talking to you. As you said, it's our 20th anniversary at the Garden State Film Festival this year. So lots to celebrate, lots to talk about. And speaking of talking, can you tell us a little bit more about this documentary?
Of course. Thank you again for the opportunity. And so basically, I met Elie during a film festival in 2020, just before COVID. And we became really good friends. We really hooked up very well. And I didn't know a lot about the fashion world, but I knew he was a big name, of course. And I knew he was such an inspiring story because he started really, really out of nothing.
Yes.
And I wanted to pay a tribute to all these immigrants who came also to the US and contributed so much to the American economy and the American culture. And I was like even surprised that there was no movies done about him or no books written about him, because his story is so inspiring. Because there are only three people in the world, in the history actually, who created a business from nothing and who built a multi-billion-dollar company, and dollars with an S, a big S, and who are still the owner of their companies, and they have more than 40 years in business. And this is Giorgio Armani, Ralph Lauren, and Elie Tahari. So I was like, wow, there's so much information and data about Armani and Lauren, but I didn't find a lot about Tahari. And he was so creative in the fashion world and creating the tube top, the business suit for women, and the jacket in such a way, and these strong colors, and always a great quality. So it has such an interesting story from his parents, his background, and
Yes.
I thought, wow, I really want to. I was really inspired with him, and I really wanted to pay a tribute to his work. And it was the first film I've done, so I was
You
anxious about it.
took it
But
all on.
yeah, but I'm used to the stage, because I'm a stage guy originally. So I'm used to work a lot and then present it, and you have one shot. So the good thing with movies is that you can present it and still kind of work again
Going
before
on
putting out, still adjust some stuff. When you have, I'd rather have one or two friends who tell me, David, like really bad, than 500 people who tell me, oh my God, no, no, please. So the good thing is that once I felt that it was showable, um, I started to invite a couple of friends and show it to them, and get some really, really good feedback. So I did also the trailer originally, so that the trailer was able also to get me a lot of ideas, because a lot of people told me, oh, Elie did this and did that, which Elie even himself didn't remember. So it was a beautiful, very, very beautiful experience. Yeah.
Wow. I mean, it seems like it was a beautiful but very long and perhaps intense process. How long was the process from start to
I
finish?
honestly, it
Or
took
do
a
you
year.
remember? Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
it took a year. It took a year. When I started to talk to him about the movie, and he said yes, I think we were in June 2020.
Okay.
And when the movie was, when I had like a final cut really ready to be submitted, was I think June, July 2021. So it really, really took a year because at the beginning I was so excited. So I wanted to let it rest for a month or two so that my excitement drops, and then I see it with fresh eyes, and yeah, that's what it took. First, all the interviews, and then after there was all the editing. And once the editing was done, then I started to go to do what I call the surgery, like to really go really into the
Digging it together.
details. Yeah, yeah, and that only I can do it, because otherwise you would have heard of myself being murdered by the editor because I go into, so I can drive people nuts. And so I ended up doing something which is a little bit what I was doing in the classical world. Well, when I perform, I imagine that I have 50% of the audience who knows everything about Shakespeare, opera, whatever, and 50% who don't know anything. So I always try to fill up these two audiences. So when I did that movie, I thought about people who know everything about fashion and people who don't know anything about fashion, so they can learn really how to create it, and also that the movie is entertaining, but also that it's very instructive, so that when people leave, they leave with something. They didn't just watch a great story, but they
Mm,
leave with something. When we think about it, even when you have a relationship, you're dating somebody, you don't never necessarily live with something.
mm,
You have a good time during the moment, but do you really live with something?
mm.
So I thought about how can I have the audience leaving with something, with advices, with something that can be very inspiring, and also learn about story of people, and perhaps look at all these people who came with nothing, and are still here and giving back to the society. And nobody talks anymore about the American dream, I believe, this last 10 years, 20 years.
Mm.
But I think it's important that people remember what is the American dream, that America is, to me, the greatest country ever, so, and we all here are coming, bringing all our ideas and to contribute to the next guy around, so that's really what I wanted. It took me a year. And as a matter of fact, I would even tell you something, is that yesterday, 2 days ago, the movie played in a big film festival here in Florida. That's why I'm here in Miami. And I watched the movie and I was like, here I will cut here. I think change this. And that music here is a little bit too loud. Maybe I should remove that part and add something else here. So the good thing is, because I did the editing, I have it all on my computer. So I can tell you, for Garden State, I would even have a new
A
version
new version.
of, of the movie. This is why, I had to learn. And I learned how to do the editing myself, because I
Wow.
didn't know before. And I was like, look, I have to figure it out. It must not be that difficult. And of course, the once everything is kind of in place, then after I moved it and changed it. And but there's always so much to improve with the movie, and at some point you just have to let it go and do
Yes,
another project. But otherwise, you can stay all your life in it. It's fascinating and crazy.
definitely. I mean, when you have taken a year and really put your time, your money, your energy into something, it's kind of like your little baby and you're scared to like let it go and let it flourish. But I mean, I've seen the amazing accomplishments and the awards surrounding this documentary. So clearly you took your time
most of
and did it
them,
right.
most of the awards were giving from myself. You
Given to
know,
yourself, it's fine.
most of them.
We're all good with
I just
that.
you know from my own foundation I created especially for the no,
I love
it's really to my surprise, and now when people will say, oh, it's my first film, or I would never like think, oh, really, first film?
that.
Because it's usually your best. I mean, now I know more about the technical aspect, and
Right.
and I have more material and more experience with that, but really the essence of experiencing of how to really build a movie is really unique. And indeed, it got really great reviews. And it arrived really at a time when most of the film festivals were not happening and closed. And so it was really beautiful. But on Semen, I don't think I would have been able to do a movie like that, especially the first one, to do it in regular times. It's because I knew that I had like from 300 emails that I usually get per day, I was getting one email, and it was like how to buy Viagra for at a discount, it was spam emails. So it means I had time really to learn and to go on YouTube and see videos on how to edit on Final Cut and how to change that. So I had the time. Now I know, so it would be easier. And as a matter of fact, I have 5 more documentaries that are in production right now, and among which 3 of them are in post-production already, and I have one in pre-production that started, a new one. So it's 6 altogether, and all of that came from that documentary. So I think I started a new career.
I think so. I mean, you're talented enough already, but I think this might be your new calling, or at least for this moment in time, this is your new calling.
Oh, I mean, if he gives me the opportunity to meet great people like yourself, and with the Garden State Film Festival, then I do a new movie every day.
Well, speaking of the Garden State Film Festival, I just want everyone to know that they can actually catch this documentary. It will be filming and airing on Saturday, March 26th from the 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. block at the Asbury Hotel. And I believe you were telling me you're bringing a special guest.
Absolutely.
Well,
I'm bringing Mr. Elie Tahari himself. Absolutely. And it's going to be like so amazing. And we're going to do such an amazing Q&A. And just when he is in the room, you're like, even when he calls me sometimes to say, how are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm sweating. It's like, I'm good. Sure. When he hangs up, I'm like, oh. It really feels like that. And he's so kind, so simple. And it's also a very humbling experience with him, because this guy who is a multi-billionaire who started with nothing and all of that, he's still like, oh, how can we get better? How can we do better? Wow. And he says yes to everybody, in the sense that he never says no. It's like, he understands that always you have to continue. This is how he was able to cross so many eras, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, 2010s. So he's someone who takes his phone and makes the deal. He doesn't know how to open a computer and type an email, but he's with his phone and call people and do things. He is so inspiring, really. I really love him. So this is only for the Garden State Film Festival.
Only for the Garden State.
I think you guys have in New Jersey, I think your premiere in New Jersey, and even premiere before New York even. Wow. So you're like, because New York, I think, is April 4th, and after it's April 18 at the Lincoln Center. So you'll be for everybody, so.
Well, we are so excited to have you two. Thank you so much. Thank you for speaking with me today. I appreciate it.
That's it. That's the end.
That's the end. I know.
That's it. I will stay hours, I put my hair nice, I thought maybe,
well, we can talk offline.
I would stay longer, and I went to, I said, let me get a good tan, so that
for the good lighting.
I would, every good things have an end. But it is such a privilege to be with you, my dear, and I really appreciate the opportunity you're giving me. And thank you so much to this wonderful the Garden Film Festival, and the wonderful Diane.
Yes.
Diana, who I think she reached out to me. Sometimes, I love when I'm like, did she reach out or I reach out? Of course I reach out, and what a question. Spielberg, did he contact me or I contacted him? I don't know. No, so no, she is adorable, and she really made it work, and I'm so grateful to her And I can tell you all my New Jersey premiere will be at the Garden State Film Festival.
At the Garden State Film Festival.
All the movies.
You guys heard it here. Thank you all so much for joining. And we will see you at the Garden State Film Festival.
I can't wait.